Every now and then, when I log on to FoolCraft, the pigmen are just hanging out over here, having a little bit of a hat party. Today, I'm joining in. I'm joining in the hat party. But seriously, there's quite a few pigmen here, isn't there? They've wandered all the way into the reactor room as well. Asuma, where are the cool glasses intros? You do a cool hat intro, and then everyone wants a cool glasses intro again. So here you go, you got one. Hi. They don't line up with my eyes very well, do they? It's like my cheeks are getting protected from the sun, but not my eyes. These are from Mine Factory Reloaded, which is something I discovered accidentally a moment ago, as I was preparing to craft a few things and learn how the fisher over here works, which I have indeed learned, and will now require more water than just that. I don't know why I only have one bucket on me, but you got to make a 3x3 pool of water below a fisher, and this thing will then get to work. Got to provide it with a fishing rod though, and there you can see it's now doing the work. It also has an idle thing here. I think that might activate after it's done some work. It also has energy, which we're providing from the dimensional transceiver, and this thing outputs upwards. So when it gets a fish, it will put it into the dimensional transceiver, which means that right there is basically the entire farm automated. Now it fishes one fish at a time. I think it uses the durability of the fishing rod as well. We should probably just hang out for a minute while we wait for that to do its work, right? Because I wanted to talk about this mod over here. If I haven't said it already, my objective at the moment for this season is to craft all of the Infinity Armor and all of the Infinity Tools. That is what I'm kind of going for. And we are actually getting kind of close to doing this stuff now, okay? The last thing left for us to make are the Cosmic Meatballs. And in the process of figuring out how the whole fishing thing works, I came over to here and I typed in fish with a little bit of a hunch that yes, we are in fact already farming all of that stuff. And that we're also farming some of the... Oh no, that one's not actually being farmed, is it? Okay, so we'll still have to do beef, but we won't need to do pork chops to get our cosmic meatballs. So it's just the ingots, the chicken, the beef, and the rabbit that we're after now. Yes, that's correct. So we're going to build like an all-in-one 3 different mob farm today, and I was going to build a fisher next to it, but we don't need that anymore, right? And coming down here, I also want to point out we've got loads of emerald singularities. We are indeed farming all of the singularities now. They are steadily working their numbers up, and I think all we've got to do is look at the one that has the least and use that number there, as which is diamonds, as the amount of these that we can craft, the infinity catalysts. And as you can see, for something like this, we need a couple of those, but when you make ingots, you need quite a lot of them. So we're probably still a long way off from actually making any of this infinity armor, and we'll focus on getting some more diamonds, which probably means more chickens. But anyway, let's pop back up to that fisher and see if it's actually done its job or not. Probably not, knowing my luck. Yes, it did do its job, and it used up some durability on the fishing rod, and now it has stopped. This machine has stuffed items. I'm guessing it didn't actually take. Let's go to this thing. Let's try this first of all. So we're going to pull it. It pulled out the fishing rod. That's not good. The other thing to try. Oh, we did actually get it. Okay, that's really weird. It's really weird that it came out like that. Okay, and then the idle time goes down. I was going to put a chest on top of it, but it seemed to come out with a dimensional transceiver. Anyway, we are not using this because we're already farming the fish. Well, last time I had to do some exploring. It took me an extensively long time to find enough rabbits. I don't think we can use the rabbit chunks that we've got to then make a rabbit spawn, which is a little bit sad. I'll look into that though, but there you go, that's the cow. What was the other one I've got to keep my eyes peeled for? The rabbit, the cow, and I've forgotten already. The pig. Yes, the pig. Right. Look out for a pink fella. A few seconds later, we find you. That's really good, you know. On a good roll. I don't think it's going to continue. I think it's going to take us hours to find a rabbit. We're going to need to go in search of a desert, and all the ones that I've been to already have sort of been exhausted of them, so we might be travelling for a long time here before we find anything. That'll do. I'll take that. I don't want to go exploring for ages. Jeez, we're down to just 2 farms. I've got a feeling, though. Let's go back to the cosmic meatballs. I didn't think of doing this before. I'm probably farming that. And I'm probably farming... Oh, chicken as well. Yeah, I'm farming all of this stuff. Wow. Yep. we can make all of that automatically. So it's just the raw meat ingot then, which means we will still have to make a mob farm, of course, to make this stuff. And if you want to leave a comment calling me a derp, as I get every video I ever make, I got it in my head, it was the pig that we were after. No, it was the chicken. We've got all the raw pork chops that we need in the world, and if we're going to make a farm to get the raw meat, why don't we make it out of the things we haven't stocked up on already? So we're going to do this farm with the chicken and the cow. So I've set down a couple of auto spawners that I've crafted, and they're not working. They're getting power from a dimensional transceiver, but they need a certain type of liquid to get them going, and that liquid is essence, which we get from killing mobs. And I'm not sure which mobs in particular. Is it any type of mob? Hostile? Passive? Either way, the way that you do that is with this grinder right here. So I was thinking that I don't really want to go ahead and adapt this farm into something for that. Like, it'd be really good to chuck a few of those in here, right? But if you look at the way we set this thing up, it really wasn't done with that in mind. So I don't think it would be a good idea to come in here and try and install some grinders. But this is one slime farm. It's currently turned off. We actually have another one we could possibly adapt. So here it is. This thing is a janky old mess that can use solar panels up here, or it can rely on passive mob spawning. Looks like it leaves quite a few slime balls behind. Let's get this thing so it's nether active and we don't have to put up with these sounds while we're over here. Right, so that's the mob mashers here and the fans all turned off so that we can work on this. I've actually got quite a few grinders with me, and I think what I'll do is try and leave in the old system best as I can, because otherwise, I don't know, we might end up changing it back again at some point, right? Or something that's just going to be a pain in the butt. So that's the output side, and what we're probably going to do is just trash all of the items that these things drop, because it's just more setting up. If we don't do that. So if we put trash cans behind them, that means all of the mob drops these things pick up just get rid of. When it comes to energy, we can use some energy conduits and a dimensional transceiver, and we can have those, I was about to say going across the top. We'll have to put some facades and a wall on top of this thing as well. And now that I think about it, it will need to be level with the wall because of the fans at the back there. So some reassembling is required, and I'm not going to start off by ripping out all of these. We're actually going to leave the ones on the side running, just because, I don't know, it might be too much for these to deal with. I don't know how fast they are at dealing with all the mobs and stuff. But with this conduit network, what we can also add is some fluid conduits, and that should extract the essence that we get from killing the mobs. And that can go in an ender tank, which can go into our farm. And I think I've covered all the angles right there. We don't have to give this thing a sword. It just kind of depends on how quick it is at killing these slimes, but we can also adjust that by turning, you know, 2 of these on or 1 of them off or whatever, you know. Ah, we've never sent liquids through a dimensional transceiver, and it makes this whole thing just a lot easier with one less thing to set up. So I would have used the tank like this, then I noticed the connection over here on the side. The dimensional transceiver can also take the liquid, so we'll put that in the middle, and yeah, we'll do that for the first time, which is kind of cool. So I'll move these all back by 1 block with trash cans behind them. We're not going through aesthetics here, and yes, I painted my conduit facades cobblestone. I found that amusing. And this is all set up, I believe. Oh, I might have missed one thing here. That should be on inserts. There we go. So these are all set to extract, and they're level with these things. So what I'm going to do is turn on our mob mashers. Over here, I'm going to insert an extra 1 of the width upgrade. Let's shift that in so it goes to the right place. Are you running? Are you animated when you're running? I forget. Yeah, there we go. So with that extra width, it just means that it'll be pushing them across in front of these ones here. So now if we activate a spawner, always active, we might as well activate a few here. Right, that one in the middle is hanging out in front of that mob grinder, and it is seemingly not doing anything, which is kind of not what I expected at all. You know, slow or not that great. Is it getting the small? It's not even getting the small ones. Maybe they require a redstone signal. Okay, let's turn these off again. Okay then. This thing don't like conduits pointing into it, or maybe it's the side. Maybe the top is supposed to be for something else. A dimensional transceiver, though, directly plugged into that is powering it. And since we've got so many of these things and they're easy to make, why don't we just plop 5 of them down here? They might even be able to take the essence directly as well, which is, you know, a good thing, I guess. Maybe it's the slimes. Maybe that's the reason why. Also, these aren't regular vanilla zombie spawners, which could also be a problem. I did a little bit of searching, a little bit of research, couldn't really find a reason, but I noticed that the examples that I were looking at didn't involve the same type of slime spawner, so I figured that might be the reason. I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes we get essence, sometimes we don't. It's just getting a little bit hectic now. Oh, you lot are burning. So at the front here, these things aren't animated anymore. This is stuffed with items, so maybe we can't put it straight into a trash can. We are getting essence here. I also got a message saying that this machine is getting a redstone signal. So if we turn that on, I don't seem to be getting that anymore. I'm now getting this stuff message on all of them. So I figured maybe we got to remove the redstone here, or maybe we need to put the items directly above. Either way, this is turning out to be a real pain in the butt. Like, I'm just not getting the hang of this. So let's get rid of these and let's go find some inventories that we can put there. This is what I'm dealing with, people. I've now come back over here and it's all good. Right, except, where did the items go? Where did the items go? I don't know, but I'm wondering if it takes a while for it to get rid of them in the trash can. I mean, one thing I'm learning is that producing this essence is a bit of a pain in the butt, and I don't know if the small amount we've got already is even enough to make a lot of items, but it does seem to be working. Maybe what we should just do is leave this thing running once we get the essence out of it. So, did I set that up? Let's set this thing to receive the essence. This should now be empty. Yikes, that is not what I wanted to do. Let's take that back. No, it's not emptying it. So it might need configuring as well, which if we just, no, that's kind of not the side I wanted to click on. Thank you, there we go. We're going to pull into the send channel. So let's see what happens. I'm an idiot. Right. I mean, I don't know where we see the liquids on this interface. Maybe it doesn't move anything until you've got like a receiving end, so perhaps we need a place to store this as well. Okay, that seemed to do something. There is essence in there. We're using that tank temporarily. Goodness me. And yes, it's taking the essence out. Right, so we're powering it, we're taking the essence out. Hopefully these chests, or sorry, trash cans are actually dealing with the items, and maybe we can leave this thing alone. However, what I have noticed is that it's filling up these ender chests with junk, which is no good at all. So we're going to have to set up a filtering system to take care of that. It's been a little while and this drum hasn't budged. Now that farm is over there running with loads of zombies, and I get this feeling like it locks up and it won't work again until you stop the zombies spawning for a while. So I started to think about other ways to get hold of essence, and I remembered the fluid cows, which False had been playing around with when she was on the server, and over here there ain't any. And then what do I spot over here? A fluid tank full of essence. Now I would really have liked to have walked away from this, learning exactly how to use the mob grinder and exactly how to get essence through that mod, but there is another way, which is using the fluid cows. And given that I'm starting to get a little bit frustrated, here is what we're going to do. We are going to pinch some from over here. So we're going to send on that channel and we are going to pull from this side here. That means we should be bringing in the essence, right? It needs power. That's the thing that we're missing. Just pick a random channel and now it should be sucking the stuff in. Although I can't really see exactly how much is in there. Yeah, it looks like it's going down a tiny bit. That's good to see. Over here we should see the stuff getting transferred across as well. No, it's not getting transferred. Maybe it didn't take any. And finally it starts to move. I've got this feeling I'm either completely brain dead today or I'm missing something really obvious. Like it didn't want to go through the dimensional transceiver, yet a moment ago it did. Now it's pinching the buckets out of there. I'm glad I've spotted that because these buckets need to go up top. So these cows will get milked every so often. And by milked, I guess they'll get essenced because that's what they produce instead of milk. They're also baby ones as well. I'm not sure if they're ever going to grow up. They've been here for a long time. So that's what this thing is doing right here. Once it's got the right type, I'm guessing that there is a filter here it's to extract the empty bucket and put it down here, and then it probably pushes it back up again. Not entirely sure how that works. It also might need tweaking and fixing because stuff's changed since this mod was added. But anyway, it's extracted all of that stuff. It just made a weird sound right as I left, didn't it? Not sure what that sound was. And now all of that's in the gargantuan drum, which we'll eventually put back into this ender tank here so we can move it to the correct place. But I guess now it looks like I might want to keep my eye on this and make sure that it works properly. I just saw this thing work, and I wish I was recording. An essence bucket came into here, then it went into that slot. I think Thulsa had set this up correctly, but she'd used a blacklist, so now I've swapped that around so it only pulls out an essence block, and then it extracts the bucket once it's been sorted out over here. So it goes into that slot, becomes essence here, becomes a bucket, and then this thing zaps it back up top. Do I have that glass? I should probably close this off. So there we go. We are now farming essence thanks to Fulls. So I'm working on a room to put this farm. It is down here next to the power room. Another project that I've been distracted and dragged away from. Gotta say though, I love the view of this. Not so much when we got night vision on. In fact, I think I've been overly reliant on night vision. I use it all the time. But anyway, we're copying the entrance to the room on the other side. We're going with some consistency here for the layout. So we've got this and that again. And what we're going to put is the cosmic meatballs in here, which I don't have at the moment. And also, I can't do that. It's not connected, right? And then that's a conduit facade. And now we should be able to put it there. So eventually we'll replace that with cosmic meatballs, as this is the room where we get a key ingredient for it. And of course the layout here pretty much like the other one, except we're going with red as the color over on this side, and this is red concrete, which you can chisel in FoolCraft. And also if I type red up here, there were a couple of other blocks that look really interesting. Chiseled redstone is awesome, so I think what we'll do is copy the layout as well. We will take this block and wrap it around the bottom, and then we'll put some of that redstone alongside it as well, going around the room, which is probably going to be a square shape, and it's kind of below where we have the moo cows as well, because up here they're not too far away. So I'm thinking of actually just moving it down to the same room and making this look really cool and interesting. I also want to investigate and see if we can breed the mini moos, because it'd be nice to get their numbers up, wouldn't it? And where is the way back down? Here it is. I can see it. There we go. Now, we've had a derp moment in this series so far, and I want to clarify that this is not a derp moment, okay? This is called following someone else's instructions. I got a comment saying, assume if you want to do all that meat stuff, you'll need to farm essence. That's what set me off on farming essence. It was also said something about these mob spawners producing meat. Well, anyway, trying to investigate how exactly we get the meat, I find out that you need a meat packer, and also you need this block right here called a slaughterhouse. Now that pink slime bit is a little bit, I don't know what that's about, but the thing seems to be working, and there's this meat drawer right here, which made me realise, hang on a second, we could use any old mob, right? And I believe we can use any old mob, and let's find out what happens. Is it actually going to kill it? It might not work with slimes. We had trouble with essence and slimes earlier. I just saw it take damage. Now there's small ones here. Okay, and now they're taking damage. Right, and if we go down below, we are generating meat, people. We didn't need to do anything at all with essence. I feel like tearing my hair out. I had a rough old time trying to get that essence to work, and we could have done so much more without it. Yes, you don't need essence to spawn mobs if you use a different mod. So I've been led on a stray path, and I think what we might do is put a few spawners in here and turn them into the different types. But for now what we want to do is move this stuff right here, our meat, into the meat packer, which will create the meat. So we'll probably need like a conduit or something going on over here. That'll probably need power. And we're right next to an ME cable, so, you know, in a couple of steps we'll be importing the meat into the system, and that's what we're going to count over here, actually. We're going to get rid of that. We're going to count the meat over there. Look at this. It is literally shooting the meat out of the top of it. It's absolutely bizarre, that is. I'm not sure if it'll go into an inventory or if we can use an item conduit to pull it out instead of it doing that. So that's the way. So I put a chest above it. It goes into the chest. And I just realised something. When you craft one of these machines, it comes with full energy. I would consider that a bit of a bug or a strange decision. Anyway, it now gets its energy from the dimensional transceiver down below. In theory, it might be possible to pass the liquid through the two of those and just have that one block there, but doesn't really matter. And now that automatically gets imported into the system, which is cool. We can leave this thing running for now then. Let's set that to always active. It will kill the slimes, which I don't think is the best mob to put in there actually, as it's kind of slow at killing them. And there you go. We got 11, we got 12. We're producing the raw meats, and it was the most long-winded way ever of figuring out how to do that. So I've set up all of these to automatically craft. As you can see, it's all raw beef stuck in there at the moment, so some acceleration cards over on this side should help with that. That'll be temporary as well, as once it's got through all of the essence. I've missed a really big step in this, which I will go and fix in a moment. The reasons those ones hadn't been added before is because they actually have, let's see, let's find 3 together. 1, 2, 3, and now we see those numbers going up instead of them going into the disk drives. Right, and the reason that we haven't done the essence before is because these all have multiple recipes. That doesn't look like milk to me as well. And I still don't have really much of an idea on how to make that work. I've had a couple of ideas now and then, but I just keep focusing on this sort of path that we put ourselves on. So there we go. We've now got that set up, and we're making all 3 of those things. I've also got a chicken and a cow spawner over here. We're going to put that in the room down the bottom, and then we're going to decorate it, and we should be done. Well, I thought we might need an upgrade here, but nothing really. It seems that when this thing kills mobs, they don't drop anything, and it can keep up with 2 of these spawners just fine. There is a case of them hanging out a little bit, so that might be one reason to upgrade this, just so the mobs aren't in the area for too long. But here's the thing, the pink slime has filled up all the way, and I'm kind of confused as to why there's so much meat here, because it seemed to be keeping up a moment ago, and I was also testing to see if this block above the chest would be a problem, and it wasn't. This would tick up, but maybe now it is a problem, so I don't know. Let's go click on it again. Wait a minute. Oh, it probably just needs another meat packer, I see, so that thing can only go so fast. Anyway, the pink slime, I think you might be able to extract this by right-clicking on the block, yes. When I did this before, there wasn't enough to actually fill up one of these yet, but it seems to keep going. Well, that's interesting, it's filled up again. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be a problem that it's filled up, though, so we'll probably just leave that there, and I'd have no idea what the uses of pink slime is, but we're not going to bother with that now. I can tell you something about the pink slime. It will spawn pink slimes in it, little slime creatures. And that source block will disappear after a while. Not sure if we're actually going to see anything straight away, because I was only messing about with this a little bit. Ah, there you go. We got one. And you get pink slimes from it. Interesting stuff, right? You'll notice this has been rearranged, and that's because I don't know why, but the conduits were being silly and not transferring the meat over to here. So now we've got 3 of them at the back. They're all packing meat, and up the top here I've almost finished decorating this room. Now when I last recorded, not long after I almost finished setting up the meat packers, the server crashed and it was down for hours and hours, but I managed to get on later on in the day and then set this thing up to run overnight. So it's now the morning for me, and if we go and check on this thing, we've got the full amount. We have filled up a drawer, and that means I believe we've probably got 26k of every ingredient required. What is that number 28? Oh, of course, it stacks it up. Yeah, so if we've got 23k of those, we'll definitely have 26k of them, meaning we can kind of make 26k cosmic meatballs, which is absolutely absurd, and I think we will make that number. But first of all, what we've got to do is finish off this room. So I've dragged our concrete around the outside here. Now we've just got to put in a roof. Going to keep it super simple, and I like that texture over there, so we'll probably use the same one to round off the sides, and then we'll have a roof. Right, that's a finished room right there. Not really sure that these things added too much, but I wanted to make it look like it connected to the ceiling. And I turned off the bottom one, since the chickens always seem to be the last to get killed, and we got plenty of meat now. So the next thing that we need to do is get this stuff and all the other ingredients into a place where we can auto-craft it. Alright, so there goes our dire crafting table. We're going to put this down here at the bottom. And up here, I think what we're going to install are 3 crafters. Okay, now I'm gonna wait here a second. This is to help us with crafting stuff in the dire crafting table. Okay, No, we're not going to craft stuff in here. What this has is the ability to remember slots. If we put in some random items, click remember and pull that out, it reserves those slots for those items. So that actually makes it a really interesting place to interact with, as we got to craft everything manually by getting the ingredients into our inventory and then shifting them into the extreme crafting table, right? So what we're going to do is have this thing get all of those ingredients. Then we can shift them out of here and the slots are reserved so they don't ever clog up, and we can open one inventory and get all the items that we want. Now I think I might have to change the layout here a little bit, because on some of these we're going to need more than just one exporter bus, right? This thing's got enough or as little amounts of items that we can put in 2 capacity cards, 2 acceleration cards, and select all of the ingredients for the cosmic meatballs to go into there. Now the other things that we need to craft are Endis pearls, and then I believe it is just this thing right here. Do you know what? I might actually want to think this through a little bit more, because there are several different stages of crafting. Like, it might be convenient to have all of those in the same inventory space as well. So rather than set that all up right now, what I'll actually do is just start off with the one, which we've kind of done. So I'm going to grab those ingredients, tell the exporter to put them inside of this thing, and then that will have some reserve slots that we can use to take out stacks at a time. Look at that number ticking up. Yeah, because we're using compacting drawers like this, it means although we store all of these in different various sizes, we're not going to store that stuff, the neutrinium piles. So when I went into here and grabbed some, all we could take was the small amount that was in there. Now we should be able to get a crazy amount, right? There you go, up to 18k already, more than we need. And I don't know why I'm taking so much of it, because all I need to do is add it to this exporter. As if it were meant to be, everything can fit into there, so we can remember all of that, and all of those slots are reserved. So enough to do 2 stacks at once, which is pretty cool. Then round the back here we should add this. So I was going to do that in the wrong order. And also, if we put that into round robin mode, it means it should equally distribute these. Now with only 2 acceleration cards, it might not be the fastest of refill times. And is that everything? No, I've missed the fish. 7 items in total, that's what I was telling myself. There it goes. It does half a stack at a time. It's not the fastest thing ever, but it's pretty good. And now that everything is full up, what we do is this. We shift click everything out of there, and I've got enough room to do all of that. We can pop down here, and here we go, crafting our first stack of cosmic meatballs, and then our second one. You know, crafting them by the stack. A little bit of extreme crafting going on there. Don't worry about it. And now let's do another bunch. Oh, I love that. That's so good. Awesome. Let's do that 2 more times, then we'll go and claim our reward in the quest book. Well, that's not the best reward ever, but if we look at the book, we've got to craft that, and then this, and then all of those things, and I'd say we're getting close to doing it. However, we are being a little bit throttled by the diamonds over here, so we're going to have to look at creating those even faster. But another thing I want to point out is that this is food, and it does the whole health bar at once. So I think we're going to ditch that food from now on, and I'm going to walk around with these crazy things on the screen. They're a little bit demanding, you know. They take up a fair portion of the screen, and I can't eat any right now, but what I can do is continue crafting these, which I'll do in a moment. As of right now, though, we should put in the final ingredient over here. And so far, we got 256, and then I've got to take some back, and every time I fill it up, I'm probably going to have to do that again. Well then, we've officially got one more than the stew, so I don't think we need to craft any more right now. And I guess in the next episode we'll probably work on adding crafters for the other things. Looks like next time we'll be getting really, really close. And what's that space for there? Is that for those things, the crystal matrix ingots? I'm not sure. I'll have to go over everything again. But like I said, one more thing to do, which is to farm some more diamonds. So we're going to take a trip. And I was going to take a trip up above, actually, to the chicken. But as I said when we started to use the waystones, all I got to do is grab this thing. Yeah, so over here in the end, I made this diamond chest. It's got insert priority 0, and I basically filled the chest up with eggs to act as a filter. So the only thing that can go in there is eggs, and guess what that means? We can hatch some more chickens, and we can build another wall of hatcheries like this. So we're going to double our output of chickens from this farm. Well, how's that for doubling the amount of chickens that we're going to have in here? Pretty cool, right? This place is crazy looking, and obviously the next step is to put those eggs into the little nesting things on the ground and hatch them and get them all in here, and that's going to take a fair bit of time, and I want to render this video and upload it to YouTube, so that's where we're going to end this one. If you have enjoyed it, then leave a like. As always, thank you for your support, and I'll see you in the next episode for potentially some infinity crafting. I don't know if we're going to have enough stuff to do it, but hopefully that's what we'll be doing. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.